Welcome to Joe's Java Jive, episode
Wow.
14. We are coming to you live using a
From the
new platform
stratosphere. Yeah,
from
it's fun.
the teleported Riverside FM. How you doing today, Topher?
I'm doing good, Jolly Joe Jester, with the Joe's Java Jive. I'm taking a walk in scenic Hudson Valley, New York,
That's
and I'm
beautiful.
excited to be on this little half chat with you. Catch up and find out
Yes,
who's going to be the guest this week.
that's awesome. So yes, Topher had his initial episode. It's an audio only episode, but he's going to be back throughout the series here. And I'm having you on because it's been a while. I haven't done an intro for an episode in a while. I've just been launching straight into the interviews, and there's been a lot of good ones. Last week, Dario, and I think he actually says it Dario. If you listen, take a shot every time I mess that up of water because you need to hydrate.
Mm-hmm.
And this week's guest is Briöna Jolie, folks. Yes, that
Clap,
is
clap, clap.
correct.
Wow.
It's going to be great. Yep. Okay, that's enough of that. That's enough. So yeah, we're gonna have Briöna Jolie, and she is a like shamanic healer, a akashic record reader, and just an all around incredible person. Very smart, very excited to talk to me about all sorts of different spiritual things. But the truth is that I'm having them on in anticipation of reflecting on an experience I've had with the akashic records, and this is someone who lived out next door neighbor and is now in Colorado. She's a very spiritual, incredible person. So I'm excited to have Briöna on later on the chat.
That's going to be a great connection.
Absolutely. I'm excited for you to hear it. And what is going on in your life these days? Let's talk a little bit about where you're at.
Oh, me? I'm living the suburban life here in the Hudson Valley. That's pretty much chilling. We caught some improv with the Catskill Improv Festival last week. That was fun to
Yes.
support them.
The
They're
Catskill Comedy Fest. Yes, they had their sneak peek, and Hudson Valley Improv, who is hosting another show. They're doing the flowers themed show at Boughton
their
Place, the
secret open
historic
mic,
theater.
yeah,
Secret open
on
mic.
Thursday, yeah.
I think we might have to check that out this week. And yeah, so let's talk about that. And how was that?
That was a fun time. It was well set up. They had tons of merch available for fundraising sale, and the place was sold out. And there was a duo from the city. I did like a PowerPoint stand-up kind of routine, which was
Nice.
entertaining and fun. And then
That's
our
great.
friends at Hudson Valley Improv did their variety of short form improv. Uh, so that was fun. The
Yeah,
audience enjoyed that.
that's
It was a
great.
good time.
I feel like they're really doing a great thing out there, and we are coming off of a couple of shows ourselves, so we took a little bit of a beginning break, but we should reflect on a lot that's happened since here. And we started the end of March at the Boughton Place with the Hudson Valley Improv folks doing a little thing, and we went on this tour. My gosh, it was
Yeah, we did 6 shows in April.
April 3rd, we were at, the New York City Producers Club, our New York City
Hmm.
debut. That was incredible.
Yeah, we
Thanks
had
to
a fun
Sean
time.
Kinnear.
Yeah, we had a fun
Yeah.
time with Sean and the gang there. And we had a fun time traveling together, shopping at Target, eating Ethiopian food. It's all about the journey.
We made a new,
Definitely.
we filmed a pilot that will be coming out soon called The
Yeah.
Fartashians.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
Fartashians. Yep, stay tuned for that. A kind of a mockumentary reality show in development. And we then had to get back for the next day on April 4th,
Hmm.
where we had another show, right?
Yeah, it was produced by Doors at 7. Exciting
Yes.
news for them. They got their own space starting up, it looks like.
Yes,
Uh,
they're doing big things. A lot of good things are happening there with Noel and Doors at Seven, and they hosted us with some other great bands,
yeah, it
and
was
we
fun
had
to
a
play
wonderful
along with
time.
bands. I mean, the Producer
Strange
Club show,
Neighbors,
yeah, and what was it
Batula,
Patello? Yeah,
yeah, Batula, and there was more too.
there was a
Oh,
couple. There's
our friend Brian Van Ostrom, and then
mhm.
there was one other, but very cool. Oh, Boys Go to Jupiter
Yes,
to get more
they
stupider.
certainly do. Yeah,
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then on April 8th, we had a show at White Noise Open Mic, which is going to be coming to the Patreon soon. That's the last one to go on. I got to get that all downloaded, but really
yeah.
interesting show with the
Yeah, it's a fun
Eclipse.
space over there with the Green Kill sessions at the Green Skills Gallery there,
Yeah, Green
and Green
Kill and
Kill
White
Avenue.
Noise,
Yeah,
229 Green Kill. They have some, check out White Noise GK on Instagram and follow for the next one. And they post them online as well. Green Kill has a great social media Substack and everything. We had a great time doing a 30-minute opener for the open mic, and that was a lot of fun. Took it to a new level, I thought. And
hmm
then, yeah, the next thing was April 14th. We had a great show in Third Thursday in Rosendale.
Oh, that was fun time. Rosendale Theater always welcomes us.
Absolutely, and we'll be back, I think, the third Thursday in June for another third Thursday. And then finally, Earth Day. We finished strong with a Earth Day performance at the Huguenot Street Festival there, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah, we
And
were on
then
the steps of the Reformed Church there.
historic.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. You got a good little video of that.
Yeah, clean
Caught
up
some
the
magic
mess.
happening there. Yeah, clean up that mess. That's a new hit for next year.
And that's it. We've been really pushing it. And then we
Well, we
had the
had the
Stellar
show that
Yoga
Stellar Yoga with our
to
friends,
close it
left-handed
off.
co-workers from Connecticut, and we had
The Comedy
Lovejoy.
Stellar.
hmm
How did you
Yeah,
like everything that night?
we had a fun time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Uh, I wonder if we could do Revolver with 5 people, but then that would take a long time. Um,
Yeah,
'Cause,
interesting.
but no, everyone got the chance to play. Um, it's fun. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a
it's an
great time.
interesting space. They have a lot more. I understand they have a lot more going on in that space. So, um,
Yeah. And what's been on your mind lately? I saw your post. You were somebody's top fan. Tell us who that is that you're
oh,
super into.
I'm a big fan of Amanda Palmer's.
Amanda Palmer. You've told me a lot about her.
Yeah, she's a singer. She lives in Woodstock. Um,
So cool.
she started that space, Gravesite Variety. It's a performance space in Woodstock with some other fine folks. They're moving venues come June, but
Nice.
there's a nice
Oh,
little.
I've got a little puppy here, a little dog who's going to be a part of
What?
today's show. Say hi, Albert. Oh, walking
Hey,
away.
Albert.
Albie. Yeah, I'm excited for Brianna to meet Albert and Janice because she's like a wolf expert, and
Really?
that's like her spirit animal. And I know she has like a wolf tarot deck that she designed. So we've got a lot of really interesting stuff coming up.
Yeah. That's gonna be a
Amanda
fun
Palmer,
show. Yeah,
I'm hoping to have her on the podcast someday as well.
that'd be fun.
So we'll be seeing each other tomorrow. And today I wanted to tell the folks here on the podcast what another reason is cool to have you on is that we also finished the artist week.
Yeah,
The
the artist
artist
way. 12
the
weeks.
artist way of 12 weeks of the artist way with Julia Cameron. We did it, buddy. We're at the end of
Yeah.
our journey. How did you
Whew.
like that for the first time?
It was a bit of a gruel. We met like once a week for the most part with it, but you really are with yourself with the book. I'm glad that I at least journaled every day. I don't know if I got 3 full handwritten pages, but I
Yeah,
got the practice down, which was good. Um,
that's it. And you
so
got to
I
be
got
easy
that.
and gentle with
Yeah.
yourself.
And I had an artist date. I went to Amy Trumpeter's show on Sunday, as well as that improv show on Thursday, as well as I saw the Decemberists last Tuesday as well. They
Oh my
performed at
gosh.
UPAC. So I had a busy week last week.
That's awesome. I love that. And I had a good artist date as well. I would have been at Amy Trumpeter's Red Wing Blackbird, but I was out of town at a family event. But I had a great time going down to see my friend's Greenhouse Lake. Elijah was episode
Oh, nice.
4 of this. And
Yeah.
I just really had a great time hearing Elijah's new songs with Greenhouse Lake and some of the older ones, and it felt really special. I got to cross off of my bucket list going up on stage and doing some of my background vocals with the band for this one song, Goosebumps, where you can actually hear me making some funny noises.
Nice.
So that was a really fun time. And, just, yeah, this book, Life is an Artist Date. Take yourself out, enjoy the little things, and then combining that with writing morning pages, checking in with yourself every day. Folks, check out The Artist's Way. Get yourself a copy of it. Go to an old
Yeah.
bookstore.
I really
It's
recommend the process of doing it. It's really been insightful. That's why I want to keep continuing doing it. It's good to look
yeah,
at it in the 12-week cycles and give yourself a break, maybe. But it's it's a
exactly.
good way to take care. It's kind of even built in there, self-care as you
It
read it or reread
is.
it.
And get into clusters and little groups. I was reading
Hmm.
the ending, and it's like it encouraged me to just keep doing this for free, kind of like we do with Happenstancery, and encourage
Yeah,
folks
with our
to,
Thursday drop-ins. Yeah.
yeah, having some time for people to come and try stuff out, and creating these creative communities that support each other. I know that's what you're all about. That's what
Yeah.
Julia Cameron is all about.
Hmm.
It's exciting. Is there
Well,
anything else coming up that you want to promote, or things that are on your mind that the public needs to hear?
nothing for the public, my friend. But no, things are pretty good. We got some exciting stuff going on. I'm hoping to get some new venues for improv for us uh,
Yes.
closer to where I live near Kingston. So I'm working on that. Uh, but it's slow going because you have to deal with like bureaucrats and rental spaces and that type of thing.
Yep. Well, we will find the right spots, and I have some exciting news about us working at this place. The Muse in Rosendale has
Oh, good.
reached out to us, and they're finally starting up. So, workshops and events coming soon to Rosendale in
Oh,
the very
wonderful.
near future.
Wonderful.
Yep. So, a lot of good things are on the horizon. Stay tuned. Topher Polack on Instagram, and
Hello.
lots of good things are coming up soon, my friend. We're creating not just a scene, but a scene, yes.
Yeah. Several
What's
little
that mean again?
nodes. It's a scene is like one person. If I write my blogs and no one reads them, then what's that? But if I encourage you to blog and I blog back, or if you write songs and I song back, you start creating a scene of people exchanging their art, like trading cards. And, you create your own economy by creating a scenius with it. I think Brian
That's
Eno
it.
coined the phrase, and Austin Kleon's got a good explanation of it in his book, Show Your Work.
Well, wonderful, exciting stuff here, and making your own cards, making your own way. That's a perfect segue into our next guest for today. So, Briöna Jolie is coming right up on Joe's Java Jive. Thanks so much, Topher. Good to have you
Yeah,
back.
always good to be here. Have fun.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Hello, welcome to another episode of Joe's Java Jive, and I want to welcome to the podcast Briöna. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
So happy to see you here, and to really be talking about some exciting stuff today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you are Briöna Jolie, and I think of you as a really magical person. We were once next door neighbors in our college town. And what do you do now? How would you tell the folks what you are to this world?
Oh man, don't we love that question?
Yeah. How do you
Well,
sum it up?
yeah, right. Especially when you do work like this, right? I feel like I say something new every day, which is wonderful. But in essence, I'm a trained shamanic practitioner, a reader, teacher, guide for people in and on a spiritual path. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I'm so happy to be talking with you today, and I've been an admirer of what you put out into the world, whether it's your monthly animal readings that we all, generate, which we'll talk about, and just seeing what you put out on your social media has really inspired me to dive deeper into my own spiritual path. So, whatever you're doing is working wonders. And I know you have a lot of people that you help every day.
Mm, thank you.
Yeah, so you definitely touched on it a bit there, and I wanted to start kind of from the beginning and tell me a little bit about where you're from in this world.
Yeah, so born and raised in New York, now live in Colorado, Colorado Springs, which is a fun transition. Um, oh, home is where the mountains are. So wherever I go next, that's where you'll find me.
Near the mountains, you will find Brianna. And wow, you really went to some of the most beautiful mountains in the world there. I did get to see Colorado Springs a couple of years ago and went into one of the best experiences of my life at the hot springs.
Oh, amazing.
How cool are they? Like one of the most, how hot are they? I should say, because they are a natural, spiritual gathering spot. I feel like in that lava water.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's magical out there. And you are close to a particular animal that I think is very special to you that I wanted to ask you about. I think we have a version of it up here on the wall if you see a little astronaut dog.
Oh,
How did
yeah.
the connection to wolves and dogs come into your life?
Oh, man. So, universe had no coincidence with that, being that my hometown in Cross River, New York, shout out to anyone who knows where Cross River, New York is, really small town in New York. There's a very popular, famous wolf sanctuary there. So, as kids in elementary school, we did not go to the zoo, we went to the wolf sanctuary. That was when I first kind of got introduced to wolves. Um, I was always obsessed with wolves, dogs, canines, anything of that variety. My favorite movie as a kid was Balto. Like I just aligned with wolf energy. And that was like cute and fun and playful. And there's many animals that I was obsessed with as a child, but
Yeah.
when I really started to deepen into my spiritual self or my soul self, I'd say really high school going into college. Um, and learning about animal guides, I really, really aligned with Wolf's teachings, Wolf's medicine, and yeah, has continued to serve me very well and being a teacher for me, truthfully. Hmm.
Yeah, and you're such a teacher to other humans who kind of don't know what we're talking about. And I would encourage you folks, like, there's so much to learn from these animals, and it's not a way we normally think about learning about animals like in science class or biology.
Hmm.
It's very amazing hearing you talk about it when you do,
Hmm.
and I think these animals give us more of a spiritual lessons and life lessons just in their natural way that they all are in these different groups. Is that kind of how you would describe it?
Oh yeah, even without communication, um, just their, mm, their, you can almost kind of look through their eyes, their perspective,
Yeah.
and see the world in a whole nother way. And that's one of the ways that is a really popular, powerful way for people to shift spiritually and awaken spiritually is just to gain new perspectives. So that's why when I say animals are a teacher, they offer new perspectives on life simply just by, as you mentioned, just being. And
Yeah.
then when you get to see in their perspective, then a relationship other than just human and animal forms, it's soul to soul. And so then you start to understand their soul and their essence and what I call in the shamanic world we call medicine. Their
Hmm.
gifts, what they have, why they're here, right? And then we share a kinship with some of those gifts.
Yeah. Wow. Find them within yourself and,
Hmm.
really meet these spirits on the level, that is eye to eye. I
Hmm.
love that.
Hmm.
And not, like you said, human to animal. And I think when you start doing that, I've always been kind of thinking of that since I was a little kid and trying to vocalize that of, I wonder what this ant is going through. That's what I was thinking
Oh
before.
yeah, me too. Just
Yeah.
normal playground thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, and all these beings, what is happening in their world? And it might be better than our lives. We don't even know. And
Hmm.
I think you're onto something thinking of just connecting with these animals. And I've seen you connect with these wolves in a way that I want to just paint the picture for people because there was one story in particular that you posted that I
Hmm.
remember. It's just ingrained in my mind, and I think I often tell people about it when wolves come up or something. Like you posted a story, and folks, you have to get on these stories. It's very enriching offerings, but it was the wolves coming up and embracing, and like all dogs do, coming right up to your face and kind of exchanging, swap and spit a little bit, and like the normal reaction and my reaction is always to kind of like swat him away and train them not to do that, and that's kind of the human reaction. But what did you say in this moment that I think my listeners here would love to hear?
Oh, well, that photo was taken at a sanctuary that I volunteer at. And we're taught that that's how wolves get to greet people and each other. That's how they say hello. That's how they get your scent. And yeah, so I just kind of went all in. I think what I spoke to in that moment was something about going beyond the cage to let that animal meet me and for me to meet it in such an intimate way. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, it was
that's
a
how
cool
they're meant
thing.
to connect with you. That was the suggestion of if you really want to connect and make this animal safe, um, if you would allow it to brush your teeth with its tongue, it would love it.
Yeah.
And me was like, oh yeah, absolutely, all in.
I love it, and it makes sense, and I've seen it in the dogs that I'm around, and it's trying to have that little bit of restraint, and I just wanted people to see that these people who are having those moments, you're really connecting with the animal and letting them feel safe and
Hmm.
learning, about eye contact with dogs
Hmm.
and different things, and it's just always been amazing for me to connect with animals, and I've been moved by the way seeing it through your eyes has kind of changed the way I thought about it. Particularly one month where you said, the animal this month is going to be one that you're afraid of.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember that month when it came in. Um, oh man, yeah. It's so interesting. So many people I meet, whether they're clients or just people I just like, come across and we talk about animals and talk about animal medicine, they always go, but what about this animal? Like, surely, we're just meant to be at a distance. Like, I am so afraid of this animal. I had a client who was so afraid of snakes and had a really, scary story as a child about snakes and spiders, snakes, whatever animal, it doesn't really matter. And then when working closer together, that animal came in as a guide for her. And again, working from a different perspective, now seeing it through their eyes, learning their medicine. the attitude and the comfortability, and no longer afraid of snakes. Love snakes. Would go up to a snake now. So it's kind of
That's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah, exposure therapy in your own way, and rechanging the relationship with it. And you mentioned snakes, and yeah, that's an animal right there. The serpent has kind of a
Mhm.
bad rap. The snake,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I'm sure you would talk about some of the specific things and the shedding of the skin
Mhm.
and the perspective of being low to the ground. And
Mhm.
it's quite amazing how over time these things that you're scared of can then become one of your cheerleaders or your
Mhm.
mascot.
Oh yeah. It knows more so of what we need than often we know what we need, especially in times of fear, which is exactly the reason why you should sit with animals that you're afraid of, because they probably have teachings and lessons and medicine for you that you desperately need to sit with.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And if they're popping around your consciousness and you're wondering why, it
Hmm.
may not be that you're scared of it. It may be that there's something to learn from that animal or
Exactly.
being.
Hmm.
It's really cool stuff. This is just scratching the surface. For me, mine was a mouse. I was
Oh.
raised the classic thing, and there's some psychological experiments with mice. Like the normal baby isn't afraid of a mouse inherently, but there was this terrible psychologist that we learned about in school who, of course, would associate, could teach you to be afraid of just about anything, and used his own kid to make him scared of mice. Would
Hmm.
play a big loud noise when the rat was on them, and by the end of it, they got him just scared of a cotton ball that kind of resembles a mouse. But like, I only mention that because I think my mom was scared of them. You never encountered them too much, but just the thought of one was enough to shiver down my spine. And
Hmm.
my mom, of course, same way. And I remember mentioning that in one of your live streams, and you know, talking about the different ways and how we can get through anything. Those mice,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
they are little warriors and can
Hmm.
squeeze through, and their organization, their quickness, their speed, their so
Hmm.
rethinking it, and trying to look at pictures of it, looking at this, it works a little bit. I love it when I see a field mouse now. I'm like chasing it down a little bit. So thank you for
Mm.
that.
Yeah, of course. That reminded me of another common fear about mice. That hits so much deeper than just the story you have in this life. Our ancestors, oh my God,
The
when,
disease.
especially European ancestors, when mice plagued, the continent, and how much fear was driven just because of that. Yeah.
They get a
Sometimes
bad
it goes
rap.
beyond.
Another one for me is bats. I have,
Mm.
grew up with bats kind of in near my neighborhood. Weirdly, like we used to be in our field, and if you threw up a baseball, they would swoop like in an open field, and we even had some get inside the house in my family. So I felt very always connected to them, and there are some other wild creatures. And I went to in Austin recently to the Bat Bridge where they all come out kind of in unison at nighttime, and I just had to connect with these animals there. I felt really cool just standing on that bridge and connecting with them.
Mm-hmm.
But you connect with animals all the time, and how does that fill your soul? I like the more time you spend with these wolves. Does that fill a certain cup up in your soul?
Oh
The
yeah.
medicine?
Oh, yeah. The volunteering wasn't just for them. I do have to say
It's
that
mutual aid.
it was a mutual filling of cups for sure. Yeah, I mean, especially being around animals that you think of as your guides, if that's one perspective that you have, or teachers,
Yeah.
especially physical time with them is just so special. But yeah, any animal, I mean, it just connects us back to really the most simple part of spirituality, which is just love, truth, simple things. Animals are simple. They help us get out of the complicatedness of our brains and just be here.
Mm.
which is how that really actually more so fills up my cup than anything is just be here. Let's just get out of the human, not bypass the human, but just like let's just take a step back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Slow the machine down.
Hmm.
I love that. And I love what you said about, love being at the core of it. And someone once explained to me, shamanism as like just being a healer, in a
Hmm.
certain way. It kind of translates to that. And I feel like for this modern world, we need more shamans like you
Hmm.
and like everybody. And I love that that is how you refer to what your practice is. And what are some of the other offerings that takes shape in your world?
Mm. So, a really common practice that we do with people in shamanism is we take them on soul journeys, spiritual journeys. And what's really funny is a huge misconception about shamanism is in order to do that, you need to take plant medicine, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
As some people do, and that's one way you can go on a soul or spirit journey, but there's many ways. Song, through chanting, you can get there through really any type of trance work. So, chanting, the drum, it's often really deeply associated with some sort of music component. And a reason for going on a spirit or soul journey is uh, just to connect deeper with the soul, to connect deeper with the spirit. It's different from meditation because we're not just relaxing and receiving, we're actually going in ourselves and we're choosing that. And we're a lot of the time kind of choosing the journey that we go on and being reflected with what we need in that journey. And a shaman is a guide to take you on that journey because we are entering a different realm, a different world. It is the capability to leave the physical behind and really, be able to go deep in that. And different from the
Mhm.
records because we're not channeling this information. You're just being led on that journey to have an experience and to integrate that experience in your physical life in some way. Huge
Okay.
component of shamanism. Some of the others is veneration of ancestors. Shamanism is one of the oldest. Uh, you could call it religion, but not really. Just kind of spirituality. The oldest
Yeah.
spirituality. Almost actually all religions started with shamanism.
Hmm.
And there's practices and principles that are woven into that. But venerations of ancestors, deep connection to earth, animal, plant guides, um, the understanding of the self in a new perspective and level. Those are some of the core elements. And across the world, shamanism looks differently to different cultures and things like that. But contemporarily, the offering in which we're mostly giving to folks is to take them on, help them, assist them, guide them on their journey, show them that they are their own healer, uh,
Mm.
and yeah, just to come home, whatever way that looks like for them.
That's beautiful. Giving people the power, teaching them how to heal themselves. That's and guiding them. I like the way you put that, and covering the musical component. Yeah, I mean, folks, we're talking about people all the way back to the early humans around a fire,
Yeah.
and with a drum,
Hmm.
and it goes so far back. And I love doing that oftentimes with community leaders and people who are important in the community around here. I just zoom out and tell them, beyond being an influencer or a modern day musician or producer, you're a tribe leader.
Mm.
You're bringing people together for music, for comedy, for whatever it is. You're zoom out and realize that you're holding a huge space here.
Mm.
It's very important, and there's a lot of modern day shamans who don't even know they are. They're
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
they're just called to action.
Oh yeah. Oh, all everywhere. All over the place. Shamans are storytellers. So that's often a way you can kind of point them out, or they have that, whether they've gone through the practice or teachings or not. We all have a little bit of that within us, and again, it is very much so in our blood.
Yeah.
You can immediately feel it when you hear a drum, how it shifts you.
Yeah.
Anyone, I don't care who you are, what you believe in. We all know the same heartbeat of a drum. It's very, very beautiful.
The drum is a spiritual transportation device. It's like a time machine, and it. Yeah, I will never forget the moments I had as an early boy playing the drum with my family, and I think every house should have a drum in it. It's a
Agreed.
sacred thing. Yeah, and you're right. That heartbeat's within us all, and if you've never been to a drum circle,
Wow.
I admire it. But I think everyone should go to that and
Mhm.
experience that feeling of oneness. And it really is the earliest form of communication
Mhm.
before language.
Yeah. Mhm. Exactly.
So you have a beautiful drum. I know that I've seen that
Mhm.
is like your shaman special
Mhm.
drum, right?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
And how did that come into your life?
Oh, so in my apprenticeship, we were taken on a journey to meet our drum. On this path, you don't say, "I want that. I'm gonna go get it," and that's it. Rarely ever. On this path, if something is meant for you, you listen to that spirit and that essence, and you let it guide itself to you. This principle of animism, everything has a spirit, everything has a soul that we can learn from and respect. So, in that
Mm.
journey, we were guided to the essence or spirit of our drum, if it existed, and listen to it to learn from it. What are you made of? Where are you from? Who are you made by? When is the right time we're meant to meet and come together in our lives? I actually have a funny story about this because
Yeah.
in my clan, we call them clans if you're in a group in an apprenticeship. A lot of my clan members, got their drum. It's coming in soon. Everyone, and then within like a couple of months, they had their drum. They're using it, even taking it on our trips to study and practice deeper with the land. And my drum said, and mind you, I'm living in Florida at the time. When the first snow falls, you can have me. And I go, what? I live in Florida. What do you mean? But I knew its materials and everything else. And that same year, we moved to Colorado. And so it took
Wow.
some time, a few months, and I waited. The first snow that fell, luckily for me, and being in Colorado, it was actually October. I just felt that snow on my face. I already knew who needed to create it and where it came from. It came from Finland, made of reindeer skin from the Sami lands. Yeah, and then
Incredible.
the
Wow.
homecoming.
Wow, what a journey. I'm so glad I asked, and I kind of remember seeing like you document this because for folks who, are meeting you for the first time here, you got to check out because this journey is always growing, but let the drum come to you is
Mhm.
such a beautiful way to put it. And I love it. I love that this all happened so serendipitously and you trust the flow of your life and follow where your intuition wants to take you, it sounds like.
Mhm. The best to the abilities. Yeah, to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
Some days that's harder, some days that's easier, but yeah, it's always the intention for sure.
What is a little bit of your daily practices that that you do to try to kind of be the best satellite for this intuition?
Dogs busting in.
There it is. Your answer right there is being around those pups so often.
Oh yeah. I mean, right? Wake up in the morning, it's kiss my babies, my two dogs. Um, Daily practice. Wow. You know, the rule of thumb is go with what your intuition is saying you need that day, because it's not a if it's not feeling it that day, it's not. So it ebbs and flows. But generally, it's just taking a moment in the morning to connect to myself before I connect really with anything else. That can look different every day. Sometimes I use cards to reflect what the self is saying to me. Sometimes I use journey work to do that. Sometimes I just need to like just sit there and hum and sing or like dance or move. That ebbs and flows every day, but that need and that want of the soul to just be connected with, fed, loved, cherished. That's really important. Something I try to do every morning before we go out in the world, get on the
moving.
phone, get into work. Yeah. Similarly
Wow.
with the night, and especially as a practitioner's reader, someone who's working with other people's energy almost on a daily basis, protection, protection, protection. And that's just making me a really strong sound vessel so I can hold space. So I can listen to hard things and hard stories and hard challenges and not absorb it. For me to be grounded and not lifted off into the ethers if that's
Yeah.
where somebody else is, and ground them too. So that and protection is really a daily, just in my world. It's a must.
Wow, I want to just ask a little bit about both of those. So the
Mm-hmm.
morning routine, it sounds like it's different every day, but like you're showing up for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what do you need, and it might
Yeah.
change from movement to humming to prayer to meditation to yoga. But I love that you show up for yourself and see kind of what you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and then at night it sounds like the protection,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of making sure to shake the etch a sketch of the day's painting off. And I love that. I need more protection in my life for
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to your inner thoughts at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
How do folks kind of find a space to do that? Because I know many of us are falling asleep with our phones in our hands at this
Mm.
generation.
The thing is you need to make a space. And making a space is so much more enticing to visit. Like if you just had a seat, it doesn't need to be a whole altar, although you've probably seen I have many. But it can literally just be a seat or a blanket or just this. This right here is my time to, whether that be connect, maybe you want to work with your guides, again, cleansing, releasing the day, journaling, whatever that may be, but
Yeah.
really creating a space that is enticing, things that you love, things that you're drawn to, things that make you feel good energetically, truly, is a space that will be much easier for you to just go to. Yeah.
I love
Hmm.
that. Okay, so creating a really good nest for
Hmm.
yourself to kind of to land on and go to sleep. I love
Yeah.
it. I learned so much from birds, just to mention.
Mm.
Like, I feel very connected to them, and recently just heard David Bowie say, I wake up at the same time every day at 6 a.m. He just says, even when I'm rehearsing, which I stay up really late, but waking up with the sun and with the birds and going out and sitting on your porch, like, I did it today, and I'm so
Mhm.
glad I did. I feel like I went into my phone and said, do this every day, like
Yeah.
alarm go off, because
Yeah.
that's one of those things that'll give you an extra hour of every day of your life that's an
Oh,
important hour.
yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes those things can turn into a ritual where it becomes a daily practice. Um, but if you are on this path for a long time, you'll notice there'll come a day where you're like, this isn't feeling the same way that it did before. And that's
Yeah.
where you're meant to ebb and flow. I said this actually to somebody the other day because we all face this and we get confused because we think this is what's good for my soul. I need to do this every day. Well, now you're thinking about it like a chore and you're missing the soul piece out of it. If you ate the same thing every day, some people, your body can build an intolerance to it. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Because it's missing the magic then. It's missing the soul. Because you felt called to go outside, the call to listen to the birds, that's what really made it magical, is that you were listening to what it
Yeah.
needed. But yeah, things can turn into a beautiful ritual and practice, but please don't ever be obsessive about it. Don't feel like if you missed it, you're over, you're done, you're not doing what you need to do. You just got to listen to what it's needing that day.
Yeah, that's such a good thing. It's like always, it's a conversation. It's an ongoing thing, and someday you might need to sleep until 1 minute before you clock into your remote job, and
Sure.
there's some days where it's, you really will follow what your intuition is, and I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest thing that I'm really lucky that my mom, who passed on, Vicky Sue, instilled in me, which was always listen to that voice inside of your head and your heart, that you're conscious, this voice that will, and always be aware if it's saying, get out of here, it's not safe, or you should do this, you should do that. With a grain of salt, you learn how to just go with the flow, and if you're lucky to live a life that doesn't need to be the same way every single day, you will find a new magic if there's some freedom there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you try to leave a little bit of time every day that you don't know what it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
yet.
Yeah, carving out that time or space is important. Um, I substitute teach some days, so that day I gotta wake up a little bit earlier to
Yeah.
get that done. Same thing at the end of the day. I could be on my phone, I could watch the movie, and sometimes, that's what it needs
Yeah.
to do that, to really decompress, to bring a little bit of silliness or joy back in.
Yeah.
But,
Throw
you know,
You'll throw on Balto every once in a
yeah,
while.
yeah. But no, definitely try to carve out the space and then leave that open for what needs to be done.
Yeah. And you mentioned the cards.
Hmm.
You designed your own cards, is that
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I created my own tarot deck, surprisingly, themed on the magic and medicine of wolves. Hmm.
Ow!
Oh!
Oh, oh, oh! Yes, it's very beautiful, folks. You have to see it. I'm definitely saving up for a deck myself, and can't wait to. Getting more and more into the cards and all of this kind of stuff that I was not raised with, but
Mhm.
moving to New Paltz and kind of always being open to spirituality. I've
Me
found it.
too.
Yeah, you and
Not
me
raised with
both.
it. Was guided to the Holy Land of New Paltz with a crystal store on the corner and people with a certain attitude of love and connection and nature at the heart and soul of that place as well.
And
So,
it's so important. Yeah, I love nature. It's nice to be, near a big city, but in the mountains with the nature. I realize how much it's a real part of my life, and anytime you can be close, I'm always living within a river or a stream.
mhm.
Like
Mm.
it's a part of me that we've talked about on the podcast, and yeah, rivers are a big part of me. You said Cross River, New York. That's such a cool name
Mm.
for a town.
Mhm.
One of my college houses was Crossroads, but I'm picturing two rivers, melding and going
Mm.
and still going their same direction, but intertwining at the middle there.
Yeah, I love that town. Kept its indigenous name, obviously translated to English, but in the
Yeah.
indigenous language of the natives who lived there, it was called Cross River.
Wow.
Beautiful rivers, reservoirs, lovely place, super small.
Yeah.
Bless you if you ever get to go.
That's beautiful. And the water is a big element. All of the elements. Do you have there's a couple other things in your tool belt that like
Mm-hmm.
are very interested. I want to ask you about which the elements and stuff and how those are a factor, and also your runes. What's a rune, and tell the
Ooh.
folks about that.
Yeah. So elements, earth, air, fire, water. I sound like airbender, but really, that's what it is. That's a core element of shamanism. Something, you understand, you practice, you get to know, like, same thing with the animals. You build a relationship, you understand the medicine. The elements are there to help guide us, to be literal direction points of our path and what we need. Um, so working with them is very special. They're really a component of all the things of journey work, in ceremony work, assisting in healing work. Oh man, they're just always there, always available, anytime, any place for anyone who needs it. You ever
Yeah.
walk in and who knows, in a city you can even be, and wind comes by and just bathes you in a cloud. Oh my God, you're being cleansed. People don't
Yeah.
realize this, but you're being cleansed, blessed. Whatever you're thinking of, it just whoosh, rushes away with that wind.
It's so
Healing,
true.
water.
Yeah.
If yeah, you just need some love, healing, connection. You'll go to water and be held. It's mother energy. So beautiful. I am really connected to water. I'm such a water person and baby. Um,
Yeah. I know. I need a bathtub in my
yeah.
life. My current apartment does not have one.
Oh,
I know. It's like
non-negotiable for me. Can't
I think
happen. Won't go into the place
y-
of that one.
I'm like my intuition is close to not signing my lease in a couple of days
Mm,
and going through the trouble of moving just so
mm,
I can soak. But the wind, I want to just mention. Yeah, I think I was hearing Cat Stevens. I
mm,
listen to the wind of my soul, and where I'll end up, well, I think only God really knows.
mm,
But this idea, I think, losing my mom, who was so spiritual, and being told to like listen to the signs, and I'm gonna
mm,
try to come through and everything.
mm,
I always, it's easy for someone who's got a lot of loss.
mm,
You can get hardened on the world and kind of get sad. I've found out that my shamanism and spiritual senses went way up, like
mm,
while she was getting close to passing, and when she ultimately passed, I felt like I gained an angel, and
mm.
had some shamanic experiences before that with some people. But the wind, the nature, these moments where you get to feel that big gust of air, it always like seems to have a spiritual energy in it.
Mhm.
From if you're listening to it, there's a message in every gust of wind.
Oh yeah. Mhm. It's really helps us to really anchor in on what we need. We think we know what we need. Really there to give us what the soul needs, what our roots need, what our body needs.
Yeah.
They live within us as well. We have that fire energy when we need it. We have gentle, calming water energy, or a rush of water energy, creativity when we need it. They exist within us too. So
Yeah.
just a beautiful way to relate. And yeah, it's just one of the core elements of shamanic practice, because you could be anywhere in the world, any culture, uh, and they'll understand.
They'll understand those elements.
Yeah, I mean, we were birthed from them, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And then the rune. What
yeah.
is a rune?
So, as I've been speaking in different cultures and places, a specific culture in which I really went deep into studying shamanism was Celtic and Norse shamanism. The reason why for that is because of my own ancestral background, being German, Scandinavian, and a wee bit Scottish, I like to say. Um, and so part of that study was, as I mentioned, ancestral veneration. what would my ancestors do in this moment? A lot of our modern problems, if we were to ask, how would my ancestors solve this problem? It would be so much more simple.
Oh.
We would find so much more gratitude for the day to day if we had that perspective. And so, learning their gifts, learning their medicine, runes. Uh, are the oldest Germanic alphabet. Now, that's what the scholars see them as, but they also had stories told about them in ancient old texts of how the gods and goddesses, those Germanic, Scandinavian gods and goddesses, would use them in magic. And
Oh.
that belief in the runes and magic, not just as letters and how they wrote, but holding magic, holding properties and energy, and certain runes are connected to those gods and goddesses. So the runes are an alphabet, but they're also a tool for someone with a magic eye and can use their different properties. So you can read the runes. They also are used in divination, like tarot or oracle or whatever. Bones, there's so many. They are a part of divination if that's a practice. They don't need to be. On their own, their symbols evoke different energies, but also sound frequency, which is really cool. So, example, a really common rune, almost like everyone knows or has seen, is this rune called Algies. And it is a straight line with kind of a V at the top. So it has these three kind of spikes coming off. And while I'll say you may have seen it before, is because runes are actually very popular in fantasy lore. Lord of the Rings is filled with runes. The Witcher is filled with runes. Like you'll just see them everywhere. Um, that rune means protection. And when you look at it, it kind of looks like an elk with its horns, and that's an animal associated with that rune. So you can
Wow.
chant that rune, algies, 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 and it can invoke and bring in protection in your life. The Old Norse Vikings, that was just an occupation. Old Norse medicine people, just regular day to day people, they could put that rune on their home, on their sword for battle, on their boat for travel, evoke protection. So it was a tool used in everyday life, medicine, but also to communicate with one another. Very
Wow.
old, very magical, and have stand a long time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The
Yeah.
earliest form of it's like hieroglyphics or
Mm-hmm. Yep.
these early memes, in
Mm-hmm.
ways of evoking things. Yeah, that is very cool to find out. And I didn't realize, the ancient history there. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's obviously a community of people still interested in these and making their own modern day versions. And that's kind of how you found out about this in the last couple of years, kind of tracing your own inner ancestors.
Yeah. I was blessed when I met my now soon to be husband. He was really into, well, he still is and always will be very into history,
Yeah.
but he really was very fond of Norse, ancient Germanic, Scandinavian mythology and was connected spiritually to that. And you don't have to be, by the way, of that descent, of that DNA to practice any of this. This is not a closed practice by any means. Certain
Cool.
cultures, they're very much so like, nope, this is ours. Maybe, white folk, you can come in if we like specifically like pick you out and say, yeah, you can walk this path. But with that stuff, no, it's open. There's no gate around that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's always a tricky thing. You
yeah,
don't want to appropriate,
yeah,
and you want to find something that's like kind of accepting. So that's good to know
yeah,
and interesting. I'm excited to
yeah.
explore all of this stuff with you more. And
Hmm.
you teach people about these runes and what they mean, and have become like one of these historical word of mouth things that tradition lives on.
Oh, yeah, it feels so good to share, because it does feel like a passing on of their gifts and to share their magic and medicine. I've never really felt connected to family, tribe growing up, especially as an only child. I'm just like the lone wolf. That was always my identity. Like just doing that. But wow, really growing in and maturing of wolf medicine. No, that's not realistic. It's pack, it's family, it's that. And so, yeah, my spiritual journey really evolved when I started introducing the ancestors into that world and that journey. And thankfully,
Oh,
uh, when I first met my husband, he was super into that, told me everything, and I was like, "Tell me more." I just sat here just like you,
yeah.
like, "Wow, this is incredible."
Oh, what a fun way for you to connect. What's his name?
Dieter. It's a very old
Dieter.
German name.
Oh, so happy for you guys. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
I've loved seeing your journey together and finding your spot in Colorado. And yeah, there's so many wonderful things we've already covered. And to think that there's another tool in your tool belt, which is a big reason on why I wanted to talk with you this month, is that you also got into the Akashic Records.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a part of your story.
Mm-hmm. Oh, big part of my story.
Actually, it's part of all of our stories, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, I stumbled upon, I would I guess, the Akashic Records in, I believe it was 2020. Um, and this was really a year Spirit was like, you are gonna go all in on what you find fascinating, find curious. Like I've always been a very spiritual. I would more so call myself back then just like very woo woo. Like just I would just dabbled and I played and I identified that hippie spiritual free spirit essence. But there was a part of me that was really kind of like just toning it down. I think just to make other people more comfortable, especially like in dating and okay, now I'm like about to enter a career as a teacher and do all this stuff, but no, really, really inside, like something really found fascinating and really believed in and really wanted to know more about, but don't think I really ever gave myself that opportunity. And 2020 was that year. It was like, you're going to go all in. You're going to actually try the things that you're curious about and practice them and do them. So, what first got me into just channeling, reading, connecting with source in any way, I began with tarot. Someone one day just said, "Hey, I know you're kind of into this stuff. Could you read my cards?" I don't know. I just do this for myself. Maybe. Turns out I could. And he was accurate, resonated, and I kept going. And then very soon after that, this all happened in the span of like a month or two. The Akashic Records kind of came into my ear. And that really, really intrigued me. It was almost like felt like okay, and now I'm not using any type of tools and I'm just relying on what I'm receiving in terms of messages and what my intuition is saying and using my gifts in that way. Okay. And so I started again, practice reading for myself, opening my records, learning that. I found a teacher that I really resonated with, where I learned how to read even deeper for myself and for others. So many different teachers, and there's so many different ways of opening the records. But wow, what an amazing world to be able to see your soul. No, again, just in another perspective, another way. Your soul's history, who you are, where you've been, where you might be
Yeah.
going. Just an encyclopedia, basically, for anything you really want to know in terms of soul, spirit, universe, cosmos, whatever you relate to.
Oh, it's an absolutely beautiful thing, and like you said, it's letting go of any kind of props or divinations of any
Mm-hmm.
kind, and instead there's a mantra or not a way of going about it, a ritual, and you speak some of it in your head, and you say some of it out loud, and then the floodgates are open. And I learned about these from a woman named Kia, who I was on a film with in 2019, about a year before my mom passed, and I met this amazing Hawaiian woman who is Kia Alabe. She wrote the book, The Gift of Listening, and she is a Hawaiian. Was very inspired by Hawaiian. So Kia Rainbow Heart was her Akashic Records, and she had a similar thing, and she actually invited a bunch of people from the movie set and said, you're all welcome to come to this Akashic Record class on Zoom during COVID. And I was very interested in it, and my mom was diagnosed, and I was like trying to find out how can I be the best spiritual guide for my mom and be there for her as she transitions to the afterlife. And she was very excited that I was taking this, and I took the class with Kia and was just blown away and excited by this. And I'm still, I think, searching for this lately. I've been getting my intuition saying, you got to get back into this. You've got to give it another go, because I started diving into it and learning it with Kia, but ultimately it came to a fruition when my mom was 3 days before passing away. And it was May 21st, 2020. And I asked Kia, would you mind doing a reading with my mom, with Vicky Sue Agan? And on her, deathbed, basically, really at a low point. But this was a chance for my mom to kind of hear about the Akashic Records and hear what energy was coming from her soul. And it was so inspiring that it actually became like a chapter in the book of Kia's book, this whole story. Yeah, it was very powerful. And I'm going to be creating an episode that kind of goes into this experience and this particular reading, and using Kia's, book and this conversation is a way of introing the topic to the viewers who are going to be listening in succession, because that's coming soon this month. And I wanted to bring you on as a sign of this is something that is very real to you and that aided in your spiritual journey. How has the readings affected you?
Wow. Oh man, it really helped me to kind of just connect the dots of my life, really. Times in my life where I felt other or not belonging, or oh man, elementary school and middle school were really hard for me. And so using the records to see my gifts, to see my soul, to look back from that soul perspective and what the soul is saying and sharing about your life, what happened, why, just really, really helped to kind of put the pieces together and show me I'm exactly where I need to be. And to help me to continue to trust when we always have that fear come up of what's to come, that same essence. And in the records, we have the ability to kind of look that way and to look the other way, look to that past self, look to the future self, and just to aid in comfort, to aid in trust. Mostly for me, it was to aid in understanding, and to help me stop questioning myself, most importantly. And get to see kind of little quirks about myself and personalities about myself, and that's why I always like this, and that's why I always felt connected to that. So again, just help me to feel more sound in myself too, and really come into this is me and feel proud of that, really.
Wow. It's a very, very cool thing that most people have never even heard of. And folks, it's just the kind of thing that I feel like as human beings, we don't know our true power. And, you're raised to just be a good worker often and not really a great spiritual worker. And these kinds of practices, it almost seems like it's putting on the blinders and like letting yourself go through this ritual of shutting down all distractions and actually saying the spotlight is on what's coming through right now. And that's a very powerful thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We need that. That's what I do with improv. It's like the stage is set, whatever's coming out is part of the it's part of the show, it's part of the energy, and it's the real truth that is meant to come out. But when you're doing it in this way, it's not performative. It's not like being a psychic. It seems like you're really listening to, a message, and letting it come through you. Channeling, you said.
Yeah, where this is not a any means of a psychic practice. It's a place for you to go to ask questions to help you better understand yourself, where you're going, where you've been, and receive just that truth without the story, without the filters, without what you were brought up with, just plain old simple frequency, truth, love. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, folks, it sounds like this is something that we all could learn from. And is there, ways of folks can connect with you, Briöna, to further their understanding of these kinds of things, to go beyond?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much so active on Instagram. That seems to be my place that I feel I can easily share whatever's coming through for all of you to connect with, whatever resonates, whatever doesn't. To find community, if you're part of that wolf pack energy and you sense that, a place for you to learn, explore, practice, ask questions. I'm an open ear truly for anything. My Instagram is Briöna Jolie. I have a website too with same things, just in a different format. And I'd love to, just meet anyone who's curious. That's how really it started for me. Just had to scratch the curiosity, and now look where I'm at.
Yeah, it's inspiring where you're at, and I feel like you are leading the way on how young people can really just like realize that, you are this. You have the power to access, so why not just go for it and say, yep, I'm doing this. And I think I'm inspired by you, and I know this is just the first of many conversations that we're going to have, because I hope to definitely join in on the wolf pack and help my journey of getting more in touch with these things as I grow up and follow my own path here.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, I'm so excited to witness that, and I love having these conversations. So
oh, that's so great. I had one last question that came to me earlier, and I thought I want to save that. If there is one story that comes to mind with an animal, I just was wondering if there was a sign to give people a sense of what the wisdom might look like, where an animal wisdom came and slapped you on the side of the head, of just kind of a moment, and it can be anything, but I wondered if something comes to mind when I ask that.
Oh yeah. And this is a funny one, actually. I was sitting out on my porch, and when those really really big, again, just stories come in, I tend to be an overthinker, and so I don't know if it's just my crazy curiosity or just I love learning. It's just like you're always kind of questioning. Sometimes that questioning gets turned on me, and that's where I really need the support of my guys to say, no, we don't need to do that. Let's tune back into curiosity about these things. And I was just kind of really in that space, and Fly came in and was sitting there, and we really don't pay any attention to Fly, but Fly makes itself known and annoys us, and makes us uncomfortable for a reason. And sitting with that Fly and understanding that medicine. Well, at first it came in, and I was like, I've never gone to visit fly in journey space. I don't know its medicine. I'm going to do that. So fly left, and I went to go on a journey to fly and to visit it in the spirit realm. And this is where we can really actually have conversations with these guides even deeper and learn more and have it show us things. Um, and fly's medicine and its reminder to me is coming back to primal instinct. Fly has no agenda, no story, no nothing. Fly is just fly. Fly is here and fly is there. So simple. And I love that medicine. It's just so primal and yeah, it's just not complicated. And so I actually went back outside like a few days after receiving that. Um, and I think I might have gone into the story again, or we were just thinking about things, and Fly came in again physically, sat on my sat on my
Yeah.
knee, and then when I saw Fly, I said, "Okay, you're right." And it was interesting because the other two times Fly came in, it was so interesting because you like try to, you might say shoo in a gentle way. I'm never one to like kill any animal like that, but just just move off me. I don't need you right now. And that fly was just like stuck to me like glue. And the
Yeah.
moment that I said, "Okay, I get it," just come back into where's my primal essence. I don't need any of this noise. This is not important. Fly unstuck like glue, went away, never saw Fly again. So that to me was, I got it. And that's often sometimes how animals will come in. And again, how animals we fear, animals who we really know nothing about, important animals to get to know. Animals, that have stories and we only view them in that story. I mean, there's a whole crap ton of people who have the story of wolves being the big bad wolf and can't understand that medicine until they break down that story, or see
Yeah.
it for that wisdom until they break down that story. So, yeah, that was a profound one. Big things come in small packages,
It's
which
so
is why I like
true.
to tell that one.
I love that. Wow, and it's very cool that how that came and spoke to you, and then when you got the message, it was gone. And I had a similar experience with a carpenter bee on Beltane just this
Oh,
last, and it was just right there all day long, and I just was right in my face, and I was really connecting with it. But I want to start having these kinds of conversations with these beings like you do. That's very inspiring to us all. I want to see the Briöna Animal Podcast.
ooh, that sounds very tempting.
I love it. You can get me and my happenstancery friends to play the different animals and do a little record. Thank you so much for being a part of this today, Briöna. Is there anything else you want to plug or mention before we say peace and love to our friends here?
The only thing I want to plug is that I love you, everyone listening to this, and that you are loved, you are love. Um, and yeah, and just to continue to connect into what brings you love on a daily basis if you can. Just nourish yourself. Um, yeah, and yeah, that's really
That's
it.
beautiful. Well, we love you, Briöna. Thank you so, so much. And now, to close out the podcast, I'm going to show you folks my most recent stand up endeavor where I pulled out a drum on stage in New Paltz and had my own little shamanic moment improvising some poetry. And it had that same message and ultimately Hopo Ono, a Hawaiian phrase from Kia. Right there, it means I love you, thank you, I'm sorry, I forgive you. This is Hopo Ono. Peace and love. Step one, make a wish.
you wish for? Somebody, answer me.
Joy.
Joy?
Yeah.
Safe travels for loved ones.
Joy.
Peace on earth.
Peace. And traveling safe. Traveling safe. We are riding the peaceful journey. You know, recently I was traveling on a plane ride, and when I'm on the plane, I get to really watch the things that I enjoy on the screen. You know, my partner, they don't like to watch anything dark, so when I was on the plane, I watched the sequel to The Exorcist. The little boy behind me really seemed to like it too. Joy. Misery. Peace. War. It's real. It's not real. Is real. Is not real. War. Love. Down below. Up above. Fear. Safety. Amazing. And crappy. Hope. And doubt. We know what we're about. Pineapples on pizza.
Yes.
Pepperoni. Veggies only. Only my religion's holy. Happiness. Miserable. I'm rich. I'm poor in a ditch. I'm a man of fame and I'm a man of shame, and I got a lot to be happy about and I got a lot to complain. I hate you. I love you.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. For what? Nothing. Something. Silence. Loud. Shame and proud. Quiet. Resilience. Coffee and tea. War. Faith. Safety. Happiness grows and the flower rose and it bloomed soon. We all must believe. Have a little faith in me and you. Rise above and feel something brand new. Look inside, realize it's all behind the eyes. It's all in someone's brain. Who thought it now? Who thought about how? Who thought about now? Who thought about this or that? You could be a bird or you could be a bat. You could fly in the sky. You could take the Amtrak. I don't really care. As long as you get there and back safe. I care about my neighbor. I care about my enemy. I care about those situationships and friendemies and a little dramedy and a little tragedy and a little bit of you and me and a little bit of happenstancery and a little bit of this or that, a little bit of coffee that's black, a cream, soy, almond milk latte. Baby, I want to get up here every week and share about me, about you, about what we're all gonna do. It's time to rise. It's time to realize we have the power and this is our hour. Make this a good world. Do it for the future boys and girls and theys and thems and this is and that. Everybody, we must believe and we will receive. Thank you so much. I am Jolly Joe Jester, and this is just a little thing I wanted to share with you today. I hope you all truly believe anything is possible, because I'll tell you what, your negative emotions and predictions are just as real as your positive ones, so we might as well envision the good outcome. Thank you.